Alright, hello, how are you? We're back with some StarCraft. I played the early access beta this weekend. Wow, man. Reading the comments on Facebook, there is a lot of entitled people out there. There's a lot of entitled people that love to do nothing but complain and hate. My God, what have we, like... Oh! And this has just gotten worse since COVID. I feel like it's a post-COVID thing, but man. Whew! Blizzard getting the hate. So anyway, we're going to go over my thoughts on the open beta. It's not great. Well, I'm not going to say that. It's... I'll go over it in more detail, but my thoughts on the game are, it's pretty good. It's got its faults. It's got a couple things that, like, I'm not... they're annoying. But overall, it's a good game. So, but we'll go over my specific thoughts. I kind of have it categorized in my head, so... Anyway, we'll go over that today. Found a new game. I'm getting kind of out of bandwidth for Hi-Fi Rush and some of the other games I've been streaming, so we're going to do a new one today that looks really cool. I've been excited about it. But first, we're going to get into some StarCraft, like always. And before we do that, I'm just going to make sure my levels are all good. Should be. I haven't altered them. Oh, yeah. There we go. They're good. Alright, cool. Our levels are good. We're checked out. We're ready to go. We're gonna run over an opener today. I'm gonna try and go over it in detail as I'm exploring it. Because I feel like I have the idea of the opener down. I feel like I have the idea of it down, but I still need to fine-tune some things I want to do with it. Now that I've learned a little bit about openers in CPL, I kind of want to explore this one and try and get it up to like certain benchmarks. So this is a build that has been on Liquipedia for I don't know how long. It's probably been on there for like 12 years or whatever. It's been on there forever. And kind of like 21 Gas, this build on Liquipedia is very broadly defined without like any kind of like specific goals and stuff. It's just very broadly defined, which is it's not bad, but it's not entirely helpful either. And so instead of relying on Liquipedia, I want to do it myself. Explore it myself. So we're going to go over this opener. We're going to go over it in macro alone first. And then I'll try and play it against other people if I can. That's going to be hard. Just because randomness. And most Protosses quit. It's a PvP opener, by the way. That's why that comment is relevant. Okay. So okay. So we're gonna go over this in macro alone. We're doing it in single player because the advantage of single player is, look at this. I could just pause it and restart it whenever. So can't really do that in multiplayer. Although it's not bad practicing this in real time in multiplayer either. That's kind of what I like about that. I can practice it in real time and I can keep a record with replays, but single player is really good if you just want to like kind of pause and pause at certain points, make sure you're hitting them accurately, and then you can go back and restart and try it again. So single player is really good for like focused practice. So that's what we're doing. So this is the 12 Nexus 5 Zealot. I've played this against a few people, and I've gotten a lot of shit for play. Well, not a lot of shit. I've gotten like kind of people just don't take what I say seriously when I try and show them this build. I think that's because I'm just tier 3, low rank, and there's just this automatic assumption that you're human garbage. You're human garbage when you're low rank and you don't know shit about shit. So even though there's also a lot of clowns in low rank that hold you back, which everyone acknowledges, but whatever. It's the toxicity of the StarCraft community. Okay, so we're doing 8 pylon. Okay, so what we're doing is we're queuing up 3 to get to 12. The biggest, so what I'm learning about 12 Nexus is that it's an you're trying to take an economic advantage, a really decisive one. So because of that, 12 Nexus is all about the money. It's all about taking the money and keeping the money, right? And you have different tactics of doing that. You can, try and keep it with offense. You could also try and keep it with defense. This is a defensive build. Or I shouldn't say offense, harassment. So we're going to go there. And then we're going to build a gateway on 12. Okay. And I'm not going to scout or anything, even though I should be scouting. But for now, I'm not going to. Okay, so 14, we're going to build another gateway. 15, we're going to build a pylon. And then after the pylon, whoops, that should be 4. We're going to build our first zealot. We'll just rally them here, just so they have a place to go for now. Okay, so 15, this pylon goes in the natural. I'm a big advocate of doing pylon sim city walling. I kind of like that a lot, especially playing against the AI. So 15 zealot. We have our pylon going. Okay, and then we're gonna kind of cut here for a while. But there's a couple things, right? It's important to check on this and transfer your probes as immediately as possible. Why you're doing this build is for the money. It's important that so what we did is we built 15 probes, and we had them all mining in our main, and then we took 4 and moved the 4 to our natural once our natural finished. It's important that you do 4 and not 5 or 6 or 7 and try and saturate it early. It's important that you do that because more so than just about any other opener, or at least that I'm learning, it's important that you do that because 15 probes, if you move like 6, you'll have 9 on your minerals, which is fine. But then you're not going to be building any additional probes. And so once you drop your gas, which we're about to do here at 21, once you drop your gas, you're going to lose those 3 probes, and now you're going to have 6, and now your main isn't going to be mining efficiently. So that's what happens when you move 6 probes, right? You lose 3 probes at your main, and it's far less efficient mining, which is not why you do a 12 Nexus. You do a 12 Nexus for the economy. So it's important to keep as many probes in your main as you can, and only move the the amount of probes you need to kickstart your natural economy. So that's not behind. That's why we do 4. 4 is actually the perfect number. So what we're gonna do, we just started our 2 zealots. So we're now got 3 zealots we're working on, and we're about to take a gas on 21, and then we're gonna build a probe on 21. The probe on 21 we're gonna build out of our natural. So probes 16 and 17 you want to build out of the natural, and I'll do it, and I'll kind of try. Hopefully you'll see as I play through this, and I'll explain why. Okay. So first we're going to build our gas. Then we're going to build our probe out of the natural nexus. Then we're going to build 2 more zealots. And then we're going to build queue another probe out of the natural nexus. Okay. So it's simple math, right? You have 15. So 15 and you want to assume you have 1 probe off, so you really have 14 minerals. So when you take those 4 probes, you have 10 of them mining in the main. Now, what we're gonna do with this is, we sent 4 over, plus we're queuing 2 up at the natural, so that's 5, 6 out of 7 patches. We have 10 in the main. We're going to send 3 to gas. So we're going to be down 2, right? We have 9 patches, and we're going to have 7 in the main mining. So we're going to be down 2 probes. So the next 2 we queued up at our natural. After those get finished, we're going to build a round of probes for both. That's going to saturate the natural, and that's going to put 8 mining in the main. And then at 29 up to 30, at 29 supply, we're going to build another probe, and then that's going to mine our main. So by 30 supply, once those probes are done, we're going to have everything fully mined. That's the idea, and that's why I queued 2 up here. Okay. So we have 25. It's kind of want that. Kind of want the whatchamacallit. So there's these probes are mining. Whatever. Okay. So now at 27, we're going to build our next round of probes. I'm going to send you guys here. And then 29, we're going to build a forge. And then we're going to have 30 be here. So there we go. So at 30 supply, 4.5 minutes in, we have the saturation that we need. This is probably that you do this with your probes and that you do this with your nexus in exactly this level of priority is the most important part about getting the most out of this opener, I'm finding. So, and then we get, so what we did is we got the gas on 21. When it finished, we moved probes here. 27 was our core. 29 was our forge. Our forge is really important. And it's important that we maximize our income because we're going to be putting a ton of money into cannons. And we're also going to have to build dragoons. So we have a lot of minerals that we need to spend. So that's why we're kind of just, you know, we really want to make sure our economy is on the up and up. And look at this, I have a ton, and I'm just talking. So we started that. Build a pylon there. I kind of like... Oh, I should have built that up a little bit more. That's alright. So, 5... that... Okay, so now Like, we do want to get our gas. I'm probably getting it way too early. But we do want to get it at some point. So 3 is kind of the minimum that you want, I feel like. I'm going to restart this. 3 is the minimum you want, I feel like, when you're playing against a person. But definitely when you play against the AI, when you practice against that, you want 5. You want 5, and you want to keep all your zealots at your base. Because they're going to send, like, a dozen. So, that's what you need. So, I feel like 3 is, like, kind of the minimum level of safety, but I haven't tested it, so I don't know for sure. 5 is definitely a safe number of cannons. And that's what I'm going to be going for, is 5 cannons. So, we'll try this again. Okay, so we start our probe right away. Split badly because we're low rank. Thank you. I'm someone who started practicing this game like 6 months ago. Hard practicing. After like 6 months off. I'm not a fucking ASL pro. Give me a break. You're not going to get it perfect. I'm not a Smurf either, thank God. I have no respect for Smurfs. Alright. Alright, so now we have... so we're starting this again. We're just trying to get this going. Trying to get a good start and get this going. So that's what I'm going to be doing, right? I'm going to be building 15 probes. 16 and 17 I'm building off of the natural nexus. And then 18 and 19 I'm building off of both. And then 20 I'm building off of the main. And I'm doing this because I'm assuming I'm going to have one probe kind of out of commission for scouting. Which I'm going to be doing right now, actually. Because scouting on 8 and Protoss is, well, not a bad idea. And, you know, I'm going to be filling in my minerals, so it's alright. A lot of the Protoss builds that I see, you scout on 8, which is... I think you do it to detect gateway cheese. I think that's why you're supposed to do that. Because a Protoss can technically build 9 gates in the middle of the map or outside your base and zealot rush you. So, you know, an 8 scout makes sense. Alright, so we're going to send this guy down here for the Nexus. We're pretty well saturated. And we don't have to scout with them. So we're going to send that there. Hotkey that. Hotkeying the Nexus is super important. Because you're going to be alternating which Nexus you build out of. So it's super important that you have it hotkeyed. And look at that. We have, you know, we're starting everything 2.5 minutes in, and we have our opponent scouted. Whether we know the location or whether we know the location and the build, we have them scouted. Oh crap, I didn't build the pylon. Alright, let's restart this again. So pylon at natural on 15 is important. That is super important. So we'll try this again. Okay, so now with this guy, we're going to build a pylon and scout. Just gonna go and send you wherever. Okay, so the ramp is there, so we'll build the pylon there. Okay. Scout. 9. All right. We'll leave this. We'll send this guy over here. Because, yeah, look at this. We may be able to get... We'll get 400 minerals shortly after that pops, so it's not going to be too late. And then, 12 gateway. Send you here. Okay. And while okay. So now this pylon that I'm about to build here is like, yeah. It's important you build the pylon at the natural. For sure. Start the zealot as soon as we can. And then send those guys over. Okay. Okay. So now 21 is our gas. And our probe out of our gnat. Then we have you and you. We have another probe out of our gnat. Okay. Build our core up there. Nice, they're not mining. These probes are smart like that. Okay, and then 30 is going to be built out of that. Forge is a little late for our build, but that's all right. Okay, so now at 30, I think I'd want to drop a couple cannons for sure. Oh no, okay. Let's build a couple goons before our forge finishes. Alright, and we'll build that. And now we can start building cannons. You kind of want to get them up as soon as possible. And you kind of want to get numbers for cannons. You know. Like you want to get... Like this is probably good. 3. Alright, cool. And then 34 after we're done being blocked. We're filling in our 2 goons is better than none. You know, you can delay the next 2, but 2 goons with all these cannons that you're building is way better than 0. Just from, like, there's our 5. Okay, cool. So now, after we have our 5, we can build more probes. And we can then prioritize goons. So goon. Okay, cool. So now we can kind of kick in our goon production. And there's another part of this opener that I totally missed. But that's kind of like the first part. You really want to get those cannons going like as soon as you can. And you really want to get a couple goons started as soon as you can. Like 5 cannons and 2 goons, like I said, is way better than just 5 cannons. Especially if you're anticipating a counterattack. So the goal that I'm trying to hit is I want to start range at 37. So the goal that I'm trying to hit is I want to start range at 35 or 34. Range at 34 or 35 when the core finishes. And then I kind of want to start building some cannons immediately, like 1 or 2. And starting 2 goons immediately. That exact timing I haven't quite figured out yet, but kind of want to start 2 goons right away, and kind of want to start our 5 cannons right away. So that's because there's once you lose your zealots, there's gonna be, which you may. You know, you're supposed to send, when you do this build, you're supposed to send your zealots over to the enemy's base and get value out of them. And also scout and stuff. So there's a risk of you losing most or all of your zealots. And once you lose them, you kind of lose your early edge. So you're very vulnerable to a counterattack. So making sure you have your cannons up and you have at least 2 goons out is imperative. That is like... what is that immediate follow-up is what's going to keep you alive when you do this. Otherwise, you're probably just going to die. And even then, there's no guarantee you're going to live, but you're going to be in way better shape than if you didn't. So... okay, so we're at 9. Okay, so we're at 10 and then 11. I still agree with sending the 11th probe. This guy, when he finishes, setting him down to this to build the Nexus. May or may not build it before the 12th one finishes, but... but he's down there. You know. The sooner he's down there, the more immediately he can build it. We'll set it here. Alright, and then 15, we're going to start this probe. This probe's going to build the pylon. Okay. Our zealot is finished, so... oh, whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh well. This is why I screw up, is just I just don't know how to press buttons. I just don't know how to press buttons and click. Alright. The joys of being a T3. It's like trying to write a sentence and not knowing how to hold the pen in your hand. Alright. So we've got that probe started. That probe started. Alright, let's try this again, shall we? This right here is like probably one of the bigger cuts of the build, where you're just trying to transition to that gateway. Honestly. Yeah, so then we build a second gateway here. Go over here. Go. Alright, cool. So now we can send him back. We can build the zealot. So now we have our 14 mining probes. That's imperative. Alright. Okay, we're gonna get 4, send them over. Now, because this is just about to finish. Alright, and then 17, 19, right? 21, gas, mine. 22, build at the gnat. Okay. And then queue these up as soon as you can. Because you're building 5. That I promise you. Alright. Build that at 27. Send you. You. Okay. And then round of probes. Whoops. The joys of box selecting. 29. And then queue up another probe here at the main. Bada boom. Alright. Alright, so we have our 5 zealots. We have our tech ready to go. We are saturated. Our probe's alive, we can pull it back. Alright, we want to start goon range like ASAP. And that's an important thing. That's why I did that. And then we want to start our cannons ASAP. Can even build... Well, let's build a pylon. Because we're also going to start goons pretty shortly now that we have gas. Oops, nope. There we go. Okay. So now we're good. We have our pylon. We have our gas. We have kind of our goons starting. So we have a lot of our foundations set. Build one there. In the back. And then we just need one more cannon. All right, so there you go. We have our foundations all set. Build a pylon there. And that right there is the opener. Now, I'm not sure what my probe count was. It may have been like 26, 27. It wasn't enough for this particular map, but 5 cannons, 2 goons built kind of right away, 2 more goons coming. If we have any kind of immediate counterattack to our zealots dying, 5 cannons and 4 goons will hold it. Hell, 5 cannons and 2 goons will probably hold it. So, the dragoons give the cannons a little bit more support to anything that is threatening them. So that's why you want to build like you don't want to worry about not having a whole lot, but you want to have some. But there you go. That was kind of what we wanted to do. So let's see if we can try and replicate it. Replicate it and also improve, because that wasn't the best execution as far as supply timing and stuff. But this is a pretty good PvP build. Like if you against most of the stuff that Perdos are used to doing in PvP, this is pretty good against it. This is pretty strong. It's very defensive, so you're not like out on the map attacking your opponent, but as you can see, you are securing pretty important early investment. So I'm not going to scout this game, although I should, just to be consistent. We'll send this guy out. We'll send this guy over to like across the map, just so we have a scout. But I'm not gonna, actually try and scout all the positions. The biggest threat to this build, and I have a replay where I can show you that. I'm not sure I have, but the biggest threat to this build is 10-11 gate on a 4-player map where they spawn like right next to you as opposed to right above or below you. That specific positioning, when you're like me and you don't have it down perfectly, oh my god, that was not a good spot. Let's redo this. That was not a good spot for those gateways. When you're like me and you're just learning this build, that specific positioning is terrible. But that's about the only threat. 10-11 gate in just about any other position is not really that scary. It's just when they're right next to you and there's a shorter travel distance, I feel like. But I don't know, maybe that's a misnomer. Maybe the travel distance is equal across all bases that are right next to you. Either way, that is your threat. Everything else isn't really a threat, because everything in PvP is so expensive, and a lot of the other builds are just, too little, too late. I mean, all the other builds become almost like an all-in if they react against you too early. You know, if my opponent has 15, 17 probes and a bunch of dragoons and no expansion, like, you know, 6, 7 dragoons and no expansion, and I hold those dragoons when they attack me, my opponent is the one that's in trouble. You know, my opponent is the one that's now kind of all in. So, you know, that's the benefit to this build. And to just about any Nexus first opening, really. Well, any Nexus first opening except against Zerg. Because Zerg is a whole nother animal. Literally a whole nother animal. Alright. So we're doing that. Oops, not building those yet. Gotta say, I like how easy it is to just cancel if you make a mistake. Okay. Okay. 15. So 14, we're building another gateway. That might be slightly late, but building another gateway. Yeah, that's just a little bit late. We're cutting probes at 15, so we're not building anymore. Building our pylon on 15. Sending this back. Building our first zealot on 15. And the next part is grabbing 4 probes. Checking on this. Let's send them over. Could even just send them there and to there. Okay, so now 17, 19. Gas on 21. Probe on 21. And then the next thing is 200, 17, 19, and queue up the other probe. Alright, cool, we have everything set. Everything for the opener is set and ready to go. So now, at 27, where's my thing? 27, we're going to build that. We're going to send 3 up. We're going to build a round of probes. Oops. And build a forge. If I know what hotkey it is. Okay. And then here we're going to build our probe in the main. Cool. Alright. Pretty consistently, about 4 minutes in or so, I have my opening done. And we're gonna build a range right away before our first goon. And the minerals are gonna go to our first cannons. And we'll build a pylon. And a round of probes. And then a goon. Oh, whoops. And then our first goon. Okay. There you go. So we've got everything checked. Got our economy. Got our goons started. Got our second goon started. Okay, so now we need to focus more on our cannons, which we can do 1, and then 1. And we can probably do another one there. There we go. 5 cannons are started before 6 minutes. And we can build our pylon here. There we go. So, I don't know what our probe count was at. 26. Kind of low, but we're doing a lot. All right, so let's quit this. Let's try playing this against the AI. We're a little down in probes, but you know. Okay, so, but we have the expansion and we're held, and we can always build like 2 pylons or whatever. You know, we can always force a pylon if we want more probes. Not really big. I feel like, considering all the other boxes you want to check with this opener, it's not really that big of a deal. Even though it doesn't work as easily on that map. You also are counting on your zealots dying. Some of them dying. Not all of them, but some of them. So let's try playing this against an AI on just, you know, polypoid. Just a nice balanced map, right? We're gonna scout on 8. I don't know why it takes me forever to send everything. Okay. So okay. With this probe, once this probe finishes, number 7, we're gonna go out and build a pylon and scout. With this build, I feel like you kind of want to build your first pylon a little bit away, like that. You don't really want to wall or sim city with your pylon. What you want to do is you want to allow for a lot of gateways off your pylon, because you want to allow for like 3-4 gateways and all your tech on one pylon. So you want to allow for a lot of space, because it's going to be a while before you start filling in more pylons in your base. So I feel like that first pylon, you don't want to sim city it with this build. Another reason why you don't want to do that is because all your defense is going to be here. So why? You know, why is that necessary? It's not. You know. But 12 Nexus. Exact placement of the pylon is of the gateway is like kind of hard, but 12 gateway. Rally the zealots there. Okay, so we found our opponent. Let's just send this there. We started our gateway. We're building 15. So we're gonna add 3 more probes. And pull out this guy to build our second gateway, since we already have him hotkeyed. Okay, and then building our first pylon at the natural, and then our zealot. Send them there. No, let's send them just right in the middle. I think I like that idea. Okay. Oh, whoops, didn't transfer our probes. So we're a little bit behind. But you know what? I've been worse behind, to be honest. All right. Okay, start those. 21 Nexus. Sorry, 21 Assimilator, 21 Pylon. Next two Zealots. Next Probe. Okay. And then we're going to take you out because we're just about to start to build our core. Oh, nice. We're building it early. That's always good. Earlier we build that core, the sooner we could start range. So I have no complaints. And then a round of probes. Build that. Okay, cool. So now we have our gas, we have our probes. 150 gas, we're gonna build that right away. Gonna get our cannons started. Look at that, we have like enough for 3 cannons. Easy. 1, 2, 3. No, let's build the third one like... Let's build it there. Build that there. And then we'll build a pylon here. There we go, look at that. And then 2 of those. Alright, we'll just start +1. So we've got 3 cannons up. We've got a goon started. We got blocked, but that's alright. Because right now, getting the cannons up is more important. We have our 5 cannons. We have our zealots here. Zealots will tank the damage. Look at that, a DT. How nice. Alright, and then now we're kind of ready to just, you know, I would say from here you probably just want to go straight into DT tech. Or start on that before you start on Robo. Robo is also important, but... Okay. Filling in the, we're filling in the missing blanks here. We're about to have just like a bunch of goons with range, in addition to zealots, by the way. So, right now I'm playing defensive because my opponent, I know what my opponent is going to do. I need every unit I can get right now. So that's why I'm kind of doing it this way. You know, normally you'd want to be a little bit more active with the zealots than I'm being. There we go, 50 gas. All right. All right. Now, maybe building. How much more do I? Okay, so I have. We'll send these over. I could probably just stay move them up at this point. Oh yeah, pull these guys out. His zealots are coming way too late. Build that, and then build some Templar. Okay. So he has nothing. I know he has nothing, so I'm just gonna go up. Yeah. The sooner I go up and counterattack, the sooner this will be over. Put that there. I'll put that there. Okay. Now you guys can move. Move. I mean, look at this. So, like this, against the AI, this is a really strong build. And usually, if it's good versus the AI, it has some weight. Right, this is all just goon micro. And I could even hold these guys here. Okay, so we want to build that. These two Templar are going to form an Archon for now, since I have nothing else to do with them. Alright, so need more pylons. This part I'm kind of weak at. It's understandable. Nice, I just built my probe there. So stupid. Alright, well, since I'm not stupid, I might as well make up for it. Alright. So now it's basically over. But, I mean, it's been over since I counterattacked, but yeah, so just as long as you hit those benchmarks, like you'll be good. I'm gonna try this again. Alright. I wanna try this again, and I wanna try, I like that I was able to start my core a lot earlier than I planned on in my build. But right about 6 minutes or so, like it's kind of when you're trying to have this done. Like you're trying to have like, you know, a bunch of cannons and goons started by 6 minutes. And when you play against the Protoss, I believe the Protoss should be expanding around 6 minutes. If they play standard, they should be just taking their expansion at that time. So, you know, you're going to be way ahead of them. And cannons are super strong defense. But, you know, like my weakness is multitasking, right? It's multitasking and continuing to macro. So once I started with that counterattack and I was trying to end the game, that's kind of when my macro fell apart. But, you know, I'm nothing if not consistent in that. Send you down here. No Protoss here. Send you over there. Alright. Pylons there. We're going to probably build our core like maybe over here. First gateway there. Go back. Start the probe machine as soon as you can. Send these guys about here in the middle. Build your second gateway like there's alright. Okay, so I know where they're at. Pylon the natural at 15. Alright. Build you there. You there. Okay. So now we're going to send 4 to there. 2 to there. Alright. And then now we're going to build you. Whoops. Stupid. That's gonna die. Build one more to replace it. Alright, and then now build you there. You. So we're queuing up everything. And then now our next 200 minerals after we queued everything up goes to our core. right? Mine the gas. Build that. All right, and then queue up or build our forge. So that's the key. If you queue everything up, you can actually build everything on time. You can actually build your stuff early. And then once the core finishes, so you just keep building probes, right? And I can build my pylon here. No, actually, I probably want to build my next pylon down here. There we go. Now I can build pylons wherever I want. Okay. Once the core finishes, you want to get that ASAP. And then kind of your excess minerals from this point are going to start cannons. So you're starting your cannons at around 34. After you've finished your range, all right? And then we started 3. We're going to kind of cut here to start our dragoons. Okay. And now we can start building probes again. And now I'm going to build 4 and 5. Boom. Dark Templar means absolutely nothing once these cannons go up. Okay. So we're blocked, but we've established our goon production. So I'm going to build 2 pylons. I'm going to build my second assimilator. And I'm going to build my 3rd gateway. Just keep... Alright. So yeah, right, look at this, right about 6 minutes. Look what we have. We have 2 goons and 5 cannons. And, you know, what's left of those zealots, probably. You know, it's no guarantee if you're playing against a person what's going to happen to all those zealots, but... look at that, we're good. We're secured. And now we are ready to... oh, you know what? Before we expand, let's build a robo, and then let's build that. There we go. Fill in both of those important pieces of tech right there. And we're ready to go expand. In 7 minutes, we're ready to take a 3rd base. In a PvP. Boom. Boom. And we'll build 2 more down here. Boom. And boom. Build that right away. That's going to be a very important upgrade. Go straight for obs. Or not. Be nice if these guys were mining. It's alright. Well, it's not alright, but there's other things we can spend our money on, so we're not too worried. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Obs. It's a late observatory, but you kind of need it with your army. So at this point, we're just getting it because we need it. And 6. Nice. I love the computer. All right. Anyway, so that's, you kind of see a little bit like how you play it. I haven't played this kind of refined version of it against a person yet, but I want to show you I think I have a rep somewhere of me doing this build against one of my friends. Playing with one of my friends. I don't think it's... I think it's probably saved on my account. It might be on this one. It's not on this one. It's on this one. Yeah, it's one of these games. Was it this map? So this... I mean, Auto is a tier 2 Protoss, and they just out macro me every time. But I want to see if I could show this opener and successfully, because there is one game where I did this opener against him. I didn't execute it as well as I did in what I showed you, and I still had such an economic advantage that I could still fill in my gateways and expand way faster than they did. So I wanted to show you the economic advantage. And so this is not it. That's what I would like to do. If you know how to execute it, it is very decisive. And current, I feel like a lot of the current standard Protoss builds don't really stop it. Like, there's not really much you can do to stop it when you do it against like the standard ones. And I suppose if they open with a DT drop, I suppose that would probably be the only thing. But even then, like, I don't really know. So we're going to do a 10. We're going to do a pylon there. Do a 12 Nexus here. Okay, so this is the one where I do that. Where I do this build. Now, look at, you're not going to see me execute it as tightly this game as I did in there. As I did in our practice today. Because between... you know, I've really like kind of thought about how am I going to tighten up this opener before I did our practice today. That's kind of what I was doing this week. Manor pylon, kind of annoying, but doesn't really matter. So, one great thing about this particular build, the 12 Nexus 5 Zealot, every now and again, Protoss, you'll run into a Protoss that likes to do this. That likes to steal your gas, like, early on. And what's nice about this build is that against a tactic like this, you could just, like, okay, you could have that gas. I'll just kill it with my zealots or my goons or whatever. And in the meantime, I'll take my gas here. So that's a plus to this build, is that if you have a Protoss that tries to gas steal you, it's kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. You're not really slowing me down or anything. So, setting a zealot in. Setting another zealot in. We have 3 zealots out now against 2. I hope we're realizing that we don't have a good number of zealots out. So this right here, what I'm doing, where I'm sending all 5, this is kind of a risky move. What I'm finding is because the reason why it's risky is that once all 5 zealots die, if you don't have your cannons up, you're vulnerable to a counterattack. So, and look at this. This is 5 minutes into the game. I don't have my... I'm not building my pylon in my natural. I don't have my natural pylon up yet. I don't have, my core started yet. This is a very unoptimized version of this opener. So that's why I've been tightening it up, because even this game where I had the economic advantage of just having this up, I still didn't do this opener very well. But I want to speed up. So, these 5 zealots go in here, they all die, right? And we're starting to get more replacement zealots. We're starting to get cannons. I think I'm going speed zealot, or I don't know. Or I'm just rebuilding them. But that's all you have to do. You just have to build zealots and cannons, or goons and cannons, and you can hold this counterattack. But now watch this. We're sending the goons out and getting the base and getting our third right away, while my opponent is not building the third nexus. We got our third nexus about a minute and a half before they did. And they're on 6. Okay, our gates aren't very good. Never mind, I misremembered that. But so, I needed to fine-tune this more and more. I like how it's playing now. It plays better. There's another rep I want to show you, so I can show you what I'm talking about a counterattack when you lose the zealots. I have a few of them because I have a few of these reps. It's against another friend of mine, who I've been very fortunate to practice with a lot. Learned a lot. Okay. So, my replays. Where are they? I have like a million replays against Vile. Did I put them all? Are they in S11 maybe? Yeah, there we go. They're these. I have like a million of these. Let's try this one. And I do this build. I've been doing this build a lot. Did I do it this game? Okay. So this is a 10-11 gate, I think. This is a different build. Okay, so this is one of them. So when I first started doing this, I did a lot of building my gateways here in the front. Um, that was not a good rep. I need to find it. I have a lot of replays where when I first started playing with Vile, before I started like really exploring builds deeper, that like I just died because of counterattacks. Anyway, I have to look up more of my old replays against him, but there's if Protoss does standard, they can counterattack you with like 4 goons right away. Or like if they do standard, they can also like wait and build up a little bit more and attack you with like 8 to 10 goons. So, but yeah, if you lose all 5 of those zealots and you don't have your cannons up, you are vulnerable to a counterattack and you will lose if you don't have them up. So that's why like I'm kind of trying to get to the point to where I'm getting my cannons started, starting goons, and then finishing my cannons. I want like 5 cannons and 2 goons up as fast as possible, and I want to start building my next 2 goons as fast as possible. But definitely 5 cannons and 2 goons I want like ASAP. And then like using all your zealots, because there's another build where you only send 3 zealots across and you try to get a lot of value out of them. So if you build 5, maybe you only send like 3 across the map to get value, and then keep the 2 at home for defense while you're, with your cannons, 2 goons and 2 zealots is a whole hell of a lot better than just 2 goons in a PvP. So there's that possibility too. You could just send 3 over to try and get value, and then your opponent thinks that you only made 3 zealots and you have 2 waiting at home with your cannons. So there's that possibility too. So next week I might do more like playing against Protoss with this build. But I definitely wanted to really explore the build today because I'm not unconvinced it's like you. One of the things that's great about it is right now and for the longest time in PvP, you never see a 12 Nexus. I don't know why. You see a 12 Nexus potentially in just you see a 12 Nexus in PvT a lot, which is a similar matchup. You see, I mean, you know, I've seen pros go 12 Nexus versus Zerg. So it's not unheard of in the other two. But why it's not in PvP when, look at it, I just did it. I mean, it's defensive, but it's such a strong hold on such an early economic advantage that it's like, why wouldn't you do that? So, I mean, everyone else is playing defensive and holding their one base anyway. Why not play defensive and hold your two? You know, you just turned it into, you know, so anyway, I wanted to show you that and show you how strong it is because once you know how to optimize it, I feel like it's super strong. Um, so, um, anyway, I'm probably gonna see if I can play more with that against other people. Like if I can play with opponents using that build next time. So maybe we'll see some PvP matches, and maybe you'll be able to see like counterattacks and stuff that we're trying to prep for. Okay, so for the next game, we're gonna get into it. Go ahead and alter my stream. Okay. We're going to go ahead and continue our journey in Ashes of the Singularity Escalation. We are so close to finishing this campaign. So close to it.
Imagine a future in which humans have become so powerful that they can individually control thousands.
Look at that. So close. All right. So
who our enemy is. Haley. You know, I laughed. Guess I was right. This planet's building up to a critical mass of holding off Haley's protege Athena from annihilating the Nexus. She's strong, though. You won't be able to keep her off the back for long. Uranium generator, right in the middle of this region. You must capture it. To do that, you'll need to build a sky factory and construct a pan to fly over this area. Then you must construct your own orbital fabricator to drop an incursion on the generator. As soon as you can, build a sky factory here. After the sky factory's built, construct your
okay. We're gonna build these metal deposits, the extractors right away. We're gonna build this right away. Cue these guys. Oh, and we'll build some brutes right away. We can use brutes to expand. Okay. I need... I need these for the Sky Factory. Go and send troops up there. guys down there.
Quantum upgrade installed. Quantum upgrade installed.
Okay. So now we're kind of establishing our economy. Really strongly establishing our economy. Alright, so once we build these, start those, now we can build our sky factory here. Build our fabricator here.
Not enough metal.
That's what I was worried about. Alright, let's halt that. And let's halt that. There we go. Alright.
Great work. Construct a pan and fly it over the unexplored territory in the middle. Once you do that, you'll be able to place an incursion force after you have that orbital fabricator ready. Now, place an incursion on that Terrenium generator and capture it. Remember, you must have vision to place an incursion. The enemy will surely throw everything they have at you once you keep an eye on the planet's conversion process. If you have time, my advice is to build up some forces before starting the party. A sentinel turret at your base would be an excellent idea to deal with that dreadnought, if and when it breaks through my lines.
Starting those two at the same time is good. That's why, but you know, you just saw you need to have the money to do it. Those. Did they really kill everything I have? Alright, I need to start this over again.
You know who our enemy is. Hey, you know, I'll get this planet's building up to a critical uranium generator, right? Build a sky factory. After the sky factory's built,
Here we go.
Quantum upgrade installed. Not enough metal.
Great work. Construct a pad and fly it over the unexplored territory in the middle. Once you do that, you'll be able to place an incursion force after you have that orbital fabricator rig. Excellent. Now, place an incursion on that Terrenium generator and capture it. Remember, you must have vision to place an incursion. The enemy will surely throw everything they have at you once you drop that incursion, though. Keep an eye on the planet's conversion process. If you have time, my advice is to build up some forces before starting the party. A sentinel turret at your base would be an excellent idea to deal with that dreadnought, if and when it breaks through my lines.
Quantum upgrade installed.
Dreadnought's taking heavy damage. Can't hold out much longer. Buckle up.
The enemy has superior terrain levels. We need more logistics.
Nicely done. Now, you just need to hold on until it reaches critical mass. An engineer drop orbital call down may be in order. The enemy will be going all out to destroy your nexus now.
We need more logistics. Quantum upgrade installed. Dreadnought detected.
The enemy captured a generator.
The enemy has captured a region.
Okay, so those turrets definitely help. That's good.
You know who our enemy is. Haley. No, I'll get. This planet's building up to a critical point. Drain generators right now. Then you must, as soon as you can, build a sky factory. After the sky factory's built,
Quantum upgrade installed. Quantum upgrade installed.
Actually, let's hit this. These are a lot safer. Okay, now I can send that to get that. I can send you to mine these. Okay. And then we'll position one here. One here. Now we'll mine.
Not enough metal.
Now we've established our economy.
Quantum upgrade installed.
Great work. Construct a pan and fly it over the unexplored territory in the middle. Once you do that, you'll be able to place an incursion force after you have that orbital fabricator ready. Excellent. Now, place an incursion on that Terrenium generator and capture it. Remember, you must have vision to place an incursion. The enemy will surely throw everything they have at you once you drop that incursion. Keep an eye on the planet's conversion process. If you have time, my advice is to build up some forces before starting the party. A sentinel turret at your base would be an excellent idea to deal with that dreadnought, if and when it breaks through my lines.
Quantum upgrade installed.
My dreadnought's taking heavy damage. Can't hold out much longer. Buckle up.
Okay. So we're almost ready to get this incursion going, finally.
Now, you just need to hold on until it reaches critical mass. An engineer drop orbital call down may be in order. The enemy will be going all out to destroy your nexus now.
Enemy dreadnought detected. Enemy dreadnought destroyed.
Okay, so holding this is the challenge.
The enemy captured a generator.
That's good to know. All right. Well, I think I've identified how to hold the dreadnought from attacking my base, and I think I've identified what the top priority is, which is holding that generator. So knowing those things, and knowing the fact that I can also just constantly build shit and try and send them over, I think I'm making some headway on this last mission. We'll try more of that next time. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is wonder if I can change this to current game I'm doing. I can't. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to quit this game. We're going to talk about Diablo 4 for a little bit because I feel like this game is probably the best thought out Diablo game since the first one, in my opinion. I don't want to come off like I'm trash talking Diablo 2 because I think it's a great game. But a lot of the negative qualities that people... Well, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, you know what? I am going to say that. I feel like the negative qualities that people didn't like about Diablo 3, not all of them, but some of them were established in Diablo 2. Like, I don't know if people like that Diablo's a grind fest. That was most certainly established in Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is a grind and farm game and get the best items you can game. Uh, so the people that didn't like that about Diablo 3, I hate to burst your bubble, but that was started 10 years ago with the first game. That's just kind of, I mean, grinding for better grinding for better gear is what Diablo is. So if you don't like that, you probably don't like Diablo as much as you say you do. Um, so that was well established. There were there were some things that Diablo 3 did that I wasn't particularly keen on. Um, there were some things that Diablo 3 established that I thought was okay, but then like the Diablo 3 endgame, I'm not too keen on. You know, um, I didn't like that Diablo 3 had the real money auction house, although they have since done away with that, and it doesn't look like they're ever planning on bringing that back again. So that's great to see. Um, but Diablo 3 kind of did this whole like I don't know. Um, the damage numbers in the game were so inflated, and like every item you found was like, oh my god, this is great, oh my god, this is great, oh my god, this is great, oh my god, this is even better. It's like every it everything in Diablo 3, like items and damage wise, I feel like and like the balance of it was just so inflated. I'm not a fan of the work of the real super like cartoony artwork in Diablo 3. The storyline in Diablo 3 is also really um it is the most linear cookie cutter fucking storyline I think of all the Diablo games. So the campaign in Diablo 3 leaves a lot to be desired. Um, the balance and stuff with the items and stuff. I mean they made it work for the game, but it was just not my thing. And the end game was like just nothing but grinding for slightly better gear. Um, I feel like the end game is a grind fest is one thing I really didn't like about Diablo 3. But and I don't think I'm the only one that's alone in that doesn't like all the the endless rift runs and grinding and stuff. But that's Diablo. Um, and there is certainly a lot of grinding to be done in Diablo 4. What I like about Diablo 4 though is that and they even the developers because I was keeping up with their quarterly reports and stuff that they would publish. Even the developers didn't really want the game to be all about items. And I feel like that precedent was set all the way in Diablo 2. Um, I feel like it's a problematic precedent. I feel like it makes the games a little bit more boring. But nonetheless, that's the precedent, and a lot of people love it. And that's partly why Diablo 2 is so timeless. Um, Now, what I really like about Diablo 1 is that I don't like that it's very easily exploitable. I thought that was always a problem. And I mean, I get it was what 1996 and like a new game, and they probably didn't think it was going to be exploited that much, but nonetheless, I didn't like that about it. But what I liked about the first Diablo game is there was also a lot of grinding in that game. You were grinding for better gear and better gear, but the game got progressively harder as you went, and it felt like you were grinding to something. Right? You were grinding to progress further into the game. You weren't grinding just for the sake of grinding for better items that you could sell on fucking what was that website? That you could sell on D2JSP for $5 a piece. I mean, you were actually grinding to like move forward in the game in Diablo 1. And certainly I've played a bit of Diablo 4. I think this has some much needed rewarding challenge that the Diablo franchise has been missing since the first game. So anyway, so those are just kind of like my general nebulous thoughts about Diablo, the franchise, and all that stuff. Now let's talk about the game Diablo 4. I'm not going to include any game footage because this is beta, so this is not technically not the final product, and so out of respect for Blizzard's intellectual property, I'm not going to include any game footage in this. Instead, all I'm including is the logo and my thoughts. Now, I feel like let's talk about let's categorize this into like a few kind of just general things like artwork and art style, we'll say, character development, we'll say, and story, like story campaign, we'll say, and then just other content, we'll say. We'll just have these kind of like four nebulous ideas, right? I do feel like that the artwork of Diablo, it's very even three is arguably like just a cartoon fest, but even 3 is dark. There is a decidedly dark style, dark and kind of gritty and gory style to Diablo that and even like horrific and dilapidated. There's a certain art style that is very Diablo, and I would even call it like kind of gothic. It's a certain style. All the Diablo games have had some version of it. I would say probably Diablo 4 has some of the most sophisticated and elegant art style of all the Diablo games. I mean, just the vibe of this is top notch. And I really liked, I really like the art style of it. I like how it's very dark and elegant, and it's also kind of crisp and polished at the same time. It's got a real nice, right? It's just got a nice finish to it. So I really like the artwork in this game. I think I like the artwork in this game better than I like any of the Diablo artworks. And that's saying something because I love Diablo 1. Diablo 1 is like easily one of my top favorite games ever made. And it's just such a well-made game. It's like and it was made by just a bunch of people who had an idea, ran with it, and didn't know what they were doing. Kind of like GoldenEye, which is another great game, and Doom, which is another great game. I mean, you get a bunch of inexperienced people together with a bunch of great ideas who just have never heard of the word limit ever in their life, and you get some of the most amazing games ever made. StarCraft is like another one, I feel like, and it's just and I really feel like Diablo 4, you have kind of that same magic that you have in a lot of the great games. You get a bunch of people together with a bunch of different ideas, and they've never heard the word limit ever in their life. And and we have this beautiful beautiful gem. There are some things that I'm not particularly keen on, and they're more like minor points, and I will try to touch on them. But the artwork in this game is just top notch. It is certainly as dark as the first two, maybe even a little bit darker. There is kind of this sense of hopelessness throughout the world of Sanctuary, both in the tone of the story and in the artwork. Like it's very like a lot of the older Diablo games were more like kind of like slasher horror, where they're very dark and gritty and bloody, but they weren't really. They were more dark. This is decidedly more like gothic. It's more not just dark and bloody, but it's worn down. It's like a worn down art style. It's dilapidated. It's grotesque. It's like, good heavens, Sanctuary has definitely seen better days. Oh my gosh. It's there is a really wonderful quality to the artwork that I can't quite find a single word to pinpoint it, but it's very dark. This is a very dark and elegant art style. So I would give the honestly like if you were to give the artwork of Diablo 1 like an 8 or a 9 out of 10, I would put this artwork right on par with Diablo 1. Um, it is probably this is probably some of the best art we have seen since the first game, in my opinion. Just beautifully crafted art throughout the whole game. Um, well, let's talk about so artwork is definitely like I would call the art like definitely a 9. Definitely a solid 9. Like it's one of the strongest like just things about it is the style. Um let's see. Let's talk about character development, and while we're on the topic of characters, we'll also talk about character creation. Um for RPGs, I really feel like this is the um one of the big cores of gameplay as an RPG is the balance of your build, how you make your character, and how your character grows and progresses through the story. And the customization in RPG honestly is a great thing. It's kind of a quality of I don't want to say it's a quality of life thing. That's not a good term. It's kind of you don't need it for a great game, but gosh, it feels wonderful to just go in there and mess with the settings and make whatever character you want to make. Um, it's fun and convenient. Um, so kind of the character creation. So far of the game, I would say the character creation is probably the worst part about the game that I've played. And it's not bad. Uh, so you kind of have varying, like you kind of have Elder Scrolls for character creation, which is super deep. I mean, you can fine tune every part of your character's look in Elder Scrolls, and you can tune it very finely with their sliders and stuff. And so it's like there's kind of like that level of deep character creation that's like Elder Scrolls deep. And then there's like kind of your generic MMO, which is not as deep as Elder Scrolls, but it's much deeper than here's your character, play it. It's kind of like RPGs. I feel like MMOs are kind of in the middle of character creation for most RPG games. For like MMO style games, they're kind of like a baseline at this point. Um, and and then there's, of course, as I just said, there's like, well, here's your character, go have fun and play. You don't get to change the gender, you don't get to change any of the outfits or the looks or the makeup or any of the facial textures or anything like that. You don't get to mess with any of that. It's just here's your character, go play. So most of the Diablo games, I would even say all the way up to 3. 3 was like, hey, look, you can change your gender. But it's still pretty much, here's your character, go play. So Diablo is kind of like the latter in all of that. I would say Diablo 4 for the Diablo franchise. This is like the deepest fucking character creation you've ever seen in your life for the Diablo franchise. So that's something to be said. For Diablo standards, this is really deep character creation. For your average MMO, like Elder Scrolls Online is one I play a lot, but also like I've played free to play MMOs that are just like, there's free to play MMOs like Skyforge and Neverwinter and Star Trek Online. And for if you're used to playing MMORPGs, this is very kind of standard baseline level character creation. It's not anything particularly deep, but for Diablo, this is certainly really fucking deep. And I would say for me, the character creation part is probably one of the worst parts about the game. But it's not bad. It's not bad, and it's nice. Like Elden Ring is another one that has some pretty deep character creation. So it's not quite it doesn't quite set the gold. Diablo 4's character creation, right, as of the beta, doesn't really hit all the deep notes that Elden Ring and the Elder Scrolls RPGs hit. But it's decent. It's certainly great for Diablo. It's kind of about your average MMO character creation, but it's maybe slightly better than average. Average to slightly better. I would call it maybe a solid. I would call it maybe a solid 6, possibly 7. It's maybe I don't want to say 6.5 because I don't want to do this whole like, oh well, I'm indecisive, so I'm just gonna say 6.5. No, I mean, and I would say that like I gave the game's artwork a 9, which is, as far as game priorities go, artwork is pretty, not the highest of priorities. And neither is really character creation. Yeah, I would say I would give probably the character creation a solid 6. It'll balance out to so far a score of about 7 between character creation and artwork, which I think is a fair score. So like artwork a 9, character creation a 6. There's nothing too deep. Like you can't change your characters. Like you can't fine tune the contours of your character's face or anything. But you can change your character's gender. You can I think you could change like their figure a little bit, but you can have like tattoos and eye makeup and you could do some cool stuff with the eye color. Making my character, I had a ton of fun with the tattoos and the eye makeup and the eye color. I had a blast with all that stuff. I was like, oh my god, look, I could have this tattoo, and I like how this tattoo kind of works with this figure in this outfit, and oh look, I could change like the different colors of the tattoo. So it was fun. I had a lot of fun. It wasn't great. Like it wasn't like Elder Scrolls or Elden Ring great. I would have liked to mess with the contours of my character's figure a little bit more, like their face and their torso and whatever. But it was all right. I had fun with it. I had a lot more fun with the tattoos and the eye makeup than I do in most games that have those features. So it was a solid 6. It was fun. It was certainly fun to play with. So now let's talk about the other part of character development, the more important part, which is your skills and your items, right? Itemization and skills and kind of the balance between the two. So when I say character development, I am talking about your progression. I am when I say character development, I'm talking about your build and your gear and kind of the balance between your gear and your build. This is where Diablo 2 was really a beast in this. Like, I really feel like Diablo 2 is just in a league of its own with character development. And Diablo 3 is just awful. It is bloody awful with character development. Your build, you have 3 different skills to choose from. Okay, maybe not 3, but you get a small handful of skills to choose from to see how they interact. I like that you can kind of flip them around. I like that you can kind of toggle and flip the skills around however you want. You can experiment with different builds. I liked that idea about Diablo 3, but the build itself was really simple, and I didn't like that. I felt like the Diablo 3 builds were actually a step back from the Diablo 2 builds. And it was less about your skills and your build. It was more about your gear in Diablo 3. That to me is just awful. Diablo 2 kind of hit that nice balance of, you have these skills and then you have to find this gear that kind of, works with these skills. But where Diablo 2 went wrong was that I didn't feel like they went far enough with the balance with gear in Diablo 2. I feel like the really good gear that you need for your build, they made it extremely scarce. And because it was extremely scarce, well, no, I take that back. Because I'm not a developer. I'm a player, and I'm just kind of going with how it feels. I feel like the itemization in Diablo 2 was good, but it could have been better. But I liked that there was a balance between gear and skills in Diablo 2. The scarcity of certain items made certain builds, you could do them if you had the item, but they weren't really practical. And the stuff that you could do a lot, Sorceress in Diablo 2 is an excellent. Sorceress and Paladin are both like excellent examples where you need a spirit shield. The stuff that you need to make a spirit shield was common enough that you could make it. That those were viable builds, but they were really late game and they were like really high up there in the RNG department. Like you had to, if you wanted to get these builds done in like a short amount of time, you had to have some really, really, really good luck. And so I didn't like that it was for such a common viable item as a spirit shield that both paladins and sorceresses could use. I didn't like how time consuming and how scarce those items were at those materials were to get those common items in Diablo 2. So there was a good item skill balance in Diablo 2, but I feel like they could have worked on the itemization balance a little bit more. Now, I'm saying that as a preface. Diablo 4's, at least as far as the beta goes, which I'm seeing this as incomplete, and I'm seeing this as also kind of bare bones. The balance of this is really good. I've made it almost up to level 25. I think I'm like level 22 or something right now. And it's a very finely tuned balance now. You can randomly find rare items that work well with your build, but they're not like the great end game items that your build is going to need, obviously. I like the idea. So the itemization in Diablo 4's I feel like is really, really good. It's reasonable. It's like you can progress through the game as you need to with just the random items you find while you're working your way up to that grind of getting your end game build items. So I like that there's a much finer balance in itemization in this game than there is in Diablo 2, which I love. And then the other part of character development is the skills. Now, I've only played the rogue, and the reason why I've played the rogue is because I played the sorceress a lot in Diablo 2. I've played the barbarian a little bit in Diablo 2. I've played the barbarian in Diablo Immortal. I kind of feel like I have a handle on these characters and how they work, but I haven't explored any of their passive skill trees yet. But the rogue is kind of like a class that is in RPGs. They are notoriously hard to play, and they die really easy. And you know what? It's the simple reason why rogues are so hard is because in RPGs, especially in like dungeon crawlers like this, ARPGs, you always have a horde of like a dozen monsters attacking you. And it is historically hard as hell to manage a horde of a dozen monsters with just a bow that fires an arrow. Pew, pew, pew. It's hard. Like logistically, it's really hard to do. It's like you have to have a lot of evasion and micro thrown in there. Otherwise, you're just dead. So I wanted to play the rogue because I feel like the rogue is a notoriously hard class. In my opinion, anyway, it is. Maybe I'm full of shit, but in my opinion, it's a notoriously hard class. And so I wanted to, Diablo 3's rogue. What I like about the skill tree is that there's a lot of different varieties you can do. There's a lot of different paths you can go down with the skill tree. And I feel like I've seen someone on Facebook comment about, oh well, you can have the you can have like a cutthroat stealth build, like where you use knives and you go in and out of stealth. And you can stealth all through the map and stuff. The build that I'm doing for a rogue, it's your traditional bow build, right? It's bow and range. And I've had to explore the best things to do through it. And you know, if you're using your bow abilities, that, what you learned in Diablo 3 is that you, with the Demon Hunter, one of the best classes made, by the way, in that game. It's just the Demon Hunter was like a great part of Diablo 3. But you have all these bow abilities that have all this AOE ability and crowd management ability, but it sucks down all your mana, right? It sucks down all your resources. So now you have to throw resource management in there, and that was a challenge with Demon Hunter when I played it. What I love about Diablo 4's Rogue and Diablo 4's skill tree for the Rogue is that if you go that route that I went of just bows and crowd control and crowd management stuff, it can work. And you don't need a whole lot of crazy items for it to work, because there's other, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but there's basically now mechanics that they've added to this class that you can now generate your own resource just like a sorceress can. A sorceress is able to generate their own resource too. And so, you can, well, okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about it because I'm commenting. You can, I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the right word is. Like proc, I guess is the right word. I don't know. But anyway, you can get resources when you use a certain ability on enemies that are vulnerable, and you have ways of creating vulnerable enemies. So it's like, oh, okay, so I need to have my enemies be vulnerable to generate resources, and I'm not, this isn't like exactly perfect, but I'm trying to like kind of show you like how the mechanics now kind of work with this, which is awesome. Okay, I need my enemy to be in a certain state to generate resources, and I can use another ability to constantly, put him in that state. I have there's an ability where you have throwing knives and you throw it like 3 times and it makes them vulnerable. And then I think I'd have to go back and I don't know if I'm saying this right, but you have other different you have other different you have an ability that you throw this knife out X number of times and it makes the enemy vulnerable. And then when the enemy is vulnerable, you can say, for example, critical hit them. Or, you can, because I tried using this for one of the knives and I forget exactly how it worked. I forget if you could generate resources from vulnerable enemies, or I think that was it. And I think that was that sounds about right. And that was one of the core bow abilities. But anyway, the point is that you can now use these skills with these different, that you can now use these skills that generate resources with these different triggers, and you can create those triggers with other skills. So all these different skills kind of synergize together, which I love, like the build that I was using the throwing knives, and you can you can eventually fan them out to where you're throwing 3 knives at once. And I think you create vulnerability and you slow enemies down. I was using that ability, and then I was using the 3 different bow abilities in the core ability part, and I forget exactly the mechanics I was using, but I was able to make it work mechanically. I was able to make resource generation and vulnerability and like critical shots. I was able to make all three of those things kind of work mechanically, and also like kind of do this invisible evade thing into the shadows and stuff, and generate resources that way, as well as be invisible to the enemies, as well as have movement speed. So there's a lot of with the way the resources work, the way the skills work in this game, they all kind of work together in a way that you can now explore different builds. And what I really liked about Diablo 3 is that you can experiment with different builds very freely. In Diablo 2, you pretty much had to know your build from the beginning, because you did not get a lot of forgiveness in terms of reallocating your skill points if you wanted to try a different build or if you did yours wrong. So I liked how much more forgiving Diablo 3 was. Diablo 4, I mean, I have 50,000 gold on my character, and I've been able to respec my character and experiment with different builds and stuff for like 1 gold per point. I mean, I don't know if it's, I think they're keeping it that low for the beta because they want to encourage experimentation, but I like the idea of having respec cost gold, and it gets progressively more expensive as you go. Like the more you respec, the more progressively expensive it gets, I think. Or is it the higher level you are, the more expensive? Anyway, you can respec with gold, which I love. Gold is a very freely available resource again, like it used to be in Diablo 2. And that's all you need is gold to respec your character, which I like. I like that mechanic. I'm not sure how expensive it's going to actually be to respec, but it's a freely available resource, which is nice. And the other thing that I really like, yeah, I like that. I don't know what other thing I was going to say, but anyway, so character development, itemization, and build and skills, and the balance between itemization and skills. And your ability to explore other skills. Well, I don't know how that's going to be in the end, but just the balance between items and skills, right? So we'll just call it that. Character development in this game, I would give it an 8, a solid 8. And I would say not only would I give it a solid 8, I would say that this balance between items and skills is the best balance by far of all the Diablo games. It is. No, I take that back, because 1 had a really good balance. I take that back. I would say this is the best balance since Diablo 2. This is the best balance between your build, your skills, and your items since Diablo 2. It kind of merges the strengths of the two together, right? Diablo 2, you have a lot more. Diablo 2, your build is a lot more like focused on where you're allocating your skill points and all that stuff. Diablo 3, it's more about how your items work with your like Diablo 3, you get items that work with your skills a little bit more freely. In Diablo 4, it's got a little bit more of the Diablo 2 feel, where your build what skills you choose and how many points you put into that skill, but it's got a little bit of it's got a little bit of the encouraging exploration that Diablo 3 has with the gold, with your respecs costing gold. So it's got the balance of Diablo 3 a little bit more, but I would say the build is a little bit more like your Diablo 2 builds, where you're investing points and skills, and the strength of your build is entirely on how many points you're putting into what, and blah blah blah. So it's got the build of Diablo 2, but it's got the item accessibility of Diablo 3. But Diablo 4 definitely has learned the lessons from both of those games and has definitely found a better balance. So character development is a solid 8, and I would say this is the best character development of all the Diablo games. For perspective, I would probably rate Diablo 2's character development as a 7, and I would probably rate Diablo 3's character development as like a 5. Like, Diablo 3 was just awful. This is like the best character development since 2. And probably on par with 1. I would say. The mechanics in 1 were very unique for the franchise. Like, we haven't really seen character development mechanics like we've seen in 1 since. So they're kind of unique. I would say this is probably on par with 1 in terms of character development. Story, like campaign and story. So far, I would definitely say it's a 9. The campaign is definitely like a 9. It is definitely like it's entertaining. It's engaging. It is, thrilling. It's well written. Some of it's a little some of it's a little predictable. Like, I've seen this 800 million times. You know what? I'll take that back. We'll put the campaign down to an 8 just because some of that predictability is like, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's a scene there's one quest where you're pursuing Lilith as your character for the first time, and some of the storytelling in that particular quest is a little tired and overdone. And my God, I've played through this a million times in Diablo 3, and it was, so, yeah, I'll call it an 8 for the story and 8 for the campaign. Now, so the campaign, the story is an 8. There's what would I call this? Progression, maybe. We'll call it no, because progression isn't the right word. Challenge. We'll just use the word challenge. Challenge and progression. This sense of the game getting harder as you're playing. So I haven't played the easiest mode. I played the Veteran 2 mode, which is the harder mode that you get more experience and you get better loot. I've been doing that mode, and I appreciate that I'm level like 22 and everything is getting progressively more difficult. I can't, in Diablo 2, what I didn't like was the fact that it wasn't very challenging. I loved that about the first game. I loved that the deeper you went into the first game, the harder it got. And so once you beat those challenges, it was even more rewarding. Diablo 2, it was not very challenging. It was a stomp fest, and it was kind of boring to just constantly grind through the campaign all the time. So, and Diablo 3 was also very boring. So I like that this game is challenging. So in terms of progression and challenge, I would put this as a 9. My items that I'm wearing, they feel very well balanced to what I'm playing. I'm not overpowered with I have an inventory full of decent rare items. They're probably not the best, but they have decent item power. I have some unique items that have some decent item power. They're the best items I could find. And I don't feel overpowered. In Diablo 3, I would feel very overpowered. In Diablo 2, I would feel overpowered for like 90% of the game, except the boss fights. I like that in this game, I don't feel overpowered. I feel very well balanced. I feel like I feel very evenly balanced with my environment, and then now the onus is on me to master my skills. It's on me to master my skills and my evasion and learn my enemies' timings and all that stuff. As the rogue, so I like this. I like that it feels very well balanced. And yeah, so I would say challenge and progression to me is progression, like level and difficulty progression. Challenge and like difficulty and progression, like all that stuff. I would say that's a 9, and I would say this is like it may not be equal to Diablo 1, but it is more on par with Diablo 1 in the sense of challenge and progression and and the story getting hard, the game getting harder as you go, and it being more rewarding as you go. Yeah, like the progression of the challenge is definitely a 9. This feels like what I've been missing from Diablo since the first game, and I feel like these developers got it right on that. And okay, so we have artwork is a 9. Character creation is a 6. Character development, skills, and itemization is an 8. Campaign story is an 8. And challenge, progression, gameplay, stuff like that, that's a 9. This is this is, yeah, that to me is honestly like probably what I've been missing from the Diablo franchise since the first game, and it's very welcoming to see it in Diablo 4. Other content like events and random boss fights and stuff. We'll just go with events because like Diablo 3 had that world events. And also just like exploring the open world, all these different side quests. I would say it is a solid other content. We'll just call it generally other content. Events, side quests, exploration. I would definitely say it's a solid 8. I love exploring this Diablo, and I haven't done any of the world boss fights yet, but the side dungeons, they're pretty good. The side dungeons are all really fun. I would definitely say that's an 8. Exploring the different areas is an 8. I love the fact that interacting with your environment in this game is a lot more like Tomb Raider, where you're leaping over stuff, you're ziplining, you're climbing up rock walls. You know, it feels a little bit more like Tomb Raider for me, and so the exploration is a little bit more rewarding. Um, there's a lot of variety of things in this open world that is awesome, and at the same time, it feels like an MMO. If it there, what I mean is that when you're out in like these random areas where all these mobs are spawning, it's not safe to just stand around. If you want to stand around and mess around with your character, you have to go to town and do that. That's the safe space. But there's the whole open world is like all the monsters are procedurally generated, and I kind of like that. It works in Diablo. It works in this environment. Um, so just other content is an 8. So I'm going to write my Diablo rating verdict here. Um, so Diablo 4 um, beta beta um um rating. Oh, whoops. Okay, to sign on apparently. All right. Well, maybe I can do it on my phone. Okay. So I can't write it on my computer, but maybe I can write it on my phone. All right. So we're gonna go. I'm just gonna write it on here, and then we'll move on. Play about 30 minutes of Dreamlight Valley. Yeah, about 30, 45 minutes of it. Okay. Um. Okay, so I'm gonna write it on. All right. So, Diablo 4 beta rating. Um. Let's see. Um. Um. Artwork. It's a 9. Um. Best since Diablo 1. Um. Let's see. Character creation. 6. Deep for Diablo. Um, Baseline for most MMOs, but fun. Um, let's see. Character development. Um, Build and items. is 8. Best balance between skills and item scarcity. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna go. Um. Excellent balance. Balance between skills and item scarcity. Okay. Uh let's see. Story. Story. Um Story campaign. 8. Um Great story. Um Formulaic. Um and then let's see. Gameplay, game progression, challenge, 9. Um, what the franchise has um, best since D1, um, better than D2 and D3 in this regard. So I would say like yeah, like the gameplay, the progression through the game, the challenge, the fact that you can't just like face roll through everything, and it's actually really rewarding to fight some of this stuff. Um, uh, Definitely better than Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Definitely the best since the first game. All right. Um, and other content, um, events, side quests, exploration, uh, bosses, etc. is I would say a solid 8. It's a solid 8. Um, very let's see. I'll call it um, very fun, well rounded, and um, rounded and very fun, um, and well rounded. Let's say. All right. So this is my verdict on the Diablo 4 beta. Um, as of the early access, I have a feeling I'm just going to be exploring this stuff more and more. I didn't do music for Diablo 4, um, but it's got great. I mean, it's got great music. Diablo always has great dark atmospheric music, and this one doesn't disappoint. Um, but I kind of wanted to talk about a lot of the stuff about the game that's just great. Um, I wanted to talk about like the game itself. You know, um, music, sound. And you know what? I'm going to talk about music and sound design. Um, I would say it's a 7. Um, consistently dark and atmospheric. Um, but but less cinematic than previous games. This outings. Yeah, I would say the sound design is more like it's more like atmospheric and dark, but it's less like cinematic than previous games. Um, it's a 7. It's like it's not the best thing about the game, but it's definitely not bad. Um, so anyway, that's my verdict so far on the early access beta. Um, and I will definitely be playing the open beta and the release more. But I'll just be at this point. I feel like the open beta is just I'm just going to be exploring the game a little bit more deeply. Anyway, um, I do like that the game encourages you to party up with people, but that's another fine balance, and that may be something that Diablo 5 fine tunes is the balance between being able to play the game through single player and have a great time, and also play the game through with your party and have a great time. Um, I do feel like there are some bosses that do encourage that there are some bosses like dungeon bosses that do encourage you to fight with a party, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around. Is it encouraging me to fight with the party, or do I just need to optimize my build a little better? Am I just not ready for this boss yet? I don't really know. You know, some of them I feel like it's the latter, where I'm just not ready to fight the boss yet. I just need to gear up a little bit more. But there's at least one boss that I fought that I'm like, I couldn't do this one alone. There's just too much. There's just too much shit, and this boss is like way too armored. I can't do this alone. So there are some bosses that are very inaccessible to solo players. And you need a party with them. But there are also world bosses that are like that. But what's great about this game is that so far, that hasn't held me back. I haven't felt like my experience has been tarnished in any way because I can't fight this one dungeon boss. There's a million other things to do that I'm loving. So great other content, right, is just amazing. It's very well rounded. There's a lot of stuff to do. So anyway, that's my verdict on Diablo 4 on the beta. Now we're gonna start up into this other game. Yeah, we'll start up in this. We'll play it for like 30 minutes. All right. No, you know what? I'm not going to play Dreamlight Valley today. I know it says it, but I'm not going to play it today. I'm going to leave it here because you know what? I still have an hour and a half left in this open beta for Diablo 4, and I want to play it. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to call it here. Thank you for watching the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you again. The next stream is going to be on Thursday. I am not able to do anytime sooner next week than Thursday because of my schedule. But yeah, so next stream is going to be Thursday at about 10 a.m., maybe 9 a.m. I might do it at 9 a.m. on Thursday. Just so I can have it done an hour earlier because I still have something to do earlier in the afternoon. But yeah, so we'll probably do Thursday at 9 a.m. for the next stream. Anyway, till next time, I hope to see you again, and I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you haven't, I totally understand if you don't want to pre-order Diablo and play it before it releases, but I totally understand if you don't want to, but man, dude, you should play it. You're missing out on a great game. Open beta is this coming weekend, and the game releases in June. So either way, I hope you pick the game up in June, because if what I'm seeing here is what I'm getting in June, oh, it's worth every penny. This is a great game. This is like, I think this is going to give so Elder Scrolls Online has new DLC coming out at about the same time that is also pretty hyped up, that I'm pretty excited for. I think this is going to give Elder Scrolls a run for its money. I think this is the Diablo 4 is going to be a hot game this summer. I do. I think it's really going to give ESO a run for its money this summer. Anyway, So I hope you check it out one way or another. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Till then, stay safe and take care. And I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next time with some more StarCraft, some more Ashes escalation, trying to figure this campaign out, and some more games. Stay safe. Have fun. Till next time.